Hi everyone, my name's Anne-Marie. Welcome to this Spellbinders card making project. In this project we're going to use a gorgeous card, and our main focal point is going to be one of our new dies from Spellbinders. I'm going to run through the items that we're going to use, any more or any other items should I say. All the details will be on my blog, so please check it out, because if I forget to mention something then they will all be on my blog. You can always comment on my blog, or you can comment on Facebook and I can reply to you, but I can't reply on YouTube. So I'll just run through the Spellbinders items that we're going to use for this project. Now the only new item that we're going to use is the bird on the cherry branch, designed by Sharon Sowell from the Flower Garden collection. So this is from our new collection that we're looking at through the next few weeks. The next item is Labels 20, one of my favourite label sets. We're also going to be using the foundation tags. This is a great set for sentiments. I think it's just one to have in your stash as backup to be able to create those special messages on your cards. The next die that we're going to be using is the chemise layering die from Spellbinders, and this has got to be one of the most ornate layering frames because it's just so pretty and the detail in it is just awesome and it cuts brilliantly. And then the last thing we're going to use are our special birthday sentiment stamps. Mine are on, this is how I store my stamps basically, so yours would come in the normal Spellbinder packaging, but I'm storing mine like this because I use them so often and the packaging now it's ripped and gone. So that's how I just store mine. So the first thing that we're going to need is our base card. Now this is a 7x5" card, but it's a landscape card. I've already done a project quite a while ago on how you can make your own if you're not able to purchase them. So I'll try and find the link for you and include that. I know it was actually an Anna Griffin project, and it showed how to make the base card for the card that we made, if that makes sense. So the first thing I'm going to do is use my bone folder to make sure I've got a good sharp crease along the edge, as always, and then we're going to turn our attention straight to the inside. Now I'm actually going to do a technique for this one, so I'm going to put my card to one side and I want a piece of scrap paper because we're going to use some gilding flakes. Woo! I hear you shout. So I've cut a layer that's going to fit the inside of the card. I've inked it around the edge and I've used our die, the bird on the cherry branch, to die cut an aperture. I've also used our stamps to stamp happy birthday just above the bird. So where I've die cut the bird, I've then gone ahead and die cut it in a different colour. So because our card is going to be predominantly blue and ivory, I've picked a nice dark blue cardstock to die cut the bird. Now where the aperture is in the layer, I've already put double-sided tape across the back of it, and I'm simply going to pop my bird, the blue bird, into the aperture on the layer, and he will stick down nicely. The only thing is I've still got little bits showing behind the bird that's from the background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some gilding flakes, and that's why I've put the scrap paper underneath. Now gilding flakes, for anybody that's never seen them, I've done a tricks and techniques about gilding flakes. They are the finest pieces of gold foil that stick to dry adhesive or wet adhesive as well. There's various wet adhesives that they stick to. And you never want to have a fan on or your aircon when you open your packet, because they are so fine they will blow away. So what we're going to do is I'm going to open my box with them in, and I'm simply going to pick out a couple of pinches of them, and I'm just going to lay it onto the bird. And I'm hoping that where the adhesive is, in the little gaps from the die, that the flakes will stick to it. I've got to say, it's been left in the open for a day or so from prepping it. So I'm just hoping that this is still going to work. But I only want glimpses of it because it's going to match the front. Now at this point, if you need any more, add a few more flakes. They will stick if you've got hot fingers. And sometimes you need a tool. I'm using a sponge. This is a special sponge from the supermarket. You know how sometimes you get the Savers ranges? Savers sponge. And I'm just going to press it in so that the flakes will stick to the adhesive where there is some adhesive. And then using circular motions, I'm just going to make sure that it's pressed in, and it's only sticking in some places, but that's fine because we only want a touch of gold and colour. So then I can tap away my excess like that, and with a piece of clean kitchen towel or similar, there we go, we can just clean that away. I'll give it a clean when it's laid down flat, and you can see just the areas that it's picked up the gilding flakes. So that looks so pretty. I'll just pop these to one side and then we can carry on. There we go. Get rid of my mat. Give that a clean just to make sure we've got those few bits off it, and that will match perfectly to the front of our card. So now we can add that as our insert, and you can just see that little bit of shine. Obviously at home you won't have left it prepped and your adhesive won't have dried up, etc. So you might get a little bit more of a flitter of the flakes. So now we can add this to the inside of our card, and I can use all that double-sided tape to add it. There we go, last piece, and there. And there's enough room for you to write a nice message to whoever you're sending this to. It's not sticky and it's going to match the front. So it's beautiful. There we go. So now we can turn our attention to the front. So our first layer is a plain dark blue cardstock layer. I've cut this to fit using the rectangle layering dies from Spellbinders, and I've just used a normal double-sided flat tape. So that's our first layer. Our next layer is our chemise frame, and you can see I've used craft card stock for this, and I've just inked it slightly around the edges. The detail in that frame is just so pretty. So I've got flat tape on the back of this layer as well that I can peel away, and then we can position it through the centre of our card. There we go, like so. Next, I've used our Labels 20, and I've actually used one of the new papers from Trimcraft, the Victoria and Albert papers. because it just blends itself so well with this project, the colour tones. So I'm going to add our die cut from Labels 20 through the centre of our card, like that, over our chemise frame. Now next, what I've done is I've die cut our little bird on the branch, and I've die cut him in dark blue, and I've got 3D foam on the back of him, and I've also die cut him out of craft card, and I've added some of our gilding flakes onto him, just on the tips of his feathers and on the tips of the flowers, and just a little bit of ink as well. So I've got double-sided tape on the back of our little bird, and I'm just going to add a little bit of wet glue as well, because I want him to be able to stick to the dark blue bird, because the dark blue one is going to create a shadow behind the front bird, if that makes sense. So it's just slightly, when you put them together, you just put them slightly off so that you get dark blue edge, if that makes sense. And then I can pop the whole bird onto my card, roughly about there, I would say. Now, one of the extra dies in the set for the bird is his little wing. So for his wing, I've die cut him just the same in the craft card, and I've added some of the gilding flakes around the edge and some ink as well. Little bit of tape on the back, and then I can position his wing roughly, I'd say about there. There we go. Then I've got my sentiments, where I've used the foundation tag and I've used the special birthday sentiments. The sentiment I've cut out and I've got it on 3D foam. I'm going to layer it up onto the larger foundation tag that matches in size and shape. And then I've got flat tape on the back of that, and I'm just going to add that just to the side of our little bird, like that. So that's not quite straight, so we'll just pop that back on. Now, also in the set with the bird on the branch set, there's some little flowers, and they're just so cute. In fact, I was just double checking that, yes, it is those. You get some tiny little flowers, guys. And what I've done is I've made them up into little flowers, and you just double layer them, and I've used an embossing tool just to curl them slightly. They're very simple flowers. So I'm just going to add these to our project in a few places, and I'm using liquid glue just to stick them on to add a little bit more interest. There we go. And we'll add another one there. So there was just 6 flowers, and there we go. Put the last one on, and then I'm going to finish the card with a navy blue bow, and I'm just going to add that to one side of our sentiment. There we go. And that is our card finished. Such a pretty card, and the details in the die is just gorgeous. It's so detailed, I was going to say again, but it's obviously been thought out so much with the little flowers and the bird. And I think our card, just with that little bit of gold foil, the gilding flakes, just makes it stand out so prettily. And you can see the inside matches the outside, and it will stand up nicely. It'll go in a normal envelope, and it's just such a pretty card. I hope you've enjoyed watching. I hope this has given you a few ideas. I know I go on a bit, don't I? But, you know, sorry. I've got to. I can't keep them short. I hope the gilding flakes has helped, and it kind of dispels the myth that you have to use it on a large area, because you don't. And I love this die set, and I hope you love it as much as I do. So thank you for watching, and I shall see you next time.